Hey everyone, how are we doing today? Mary Ellen Van Auken, Sue Jennings, the real estate ladies of North Atlanta. How are you doing today, Sue?
I'm doing great. How are you, Mary Ellen?
I'm doing fantastic. So today we've got some really fun stuff. The first thing we're going to talk about a neighborhood in Alpharetta. So the Atleys, that'll be interesting. Then we're going to touch on 7 design lessons that from watching, we all watch TV, don't we? From watching Fixer Upper, the lake house. So that'll be interesting topic. Then we're going to touch on things we love about North Atlanta. And then we have a design tip of the day. So it's going to be an exciting podcast. Let's start with the community in Alpharetta called the Atley in downtown Alpharetta. Go for it, Sue.
Well, as everybody knows that knows me, I love Alpharetta and I love new construction. And I think that the Atley by the Providence Group is one of the nicest places to live in downtown Alpharetta. It is a condo and townhome community. It is now sold out. The last one has not closed just yet, but will shortly. But there are some resales in the community. And the townhouses here are about 2,200 square feet. And they start in the 800s for the most part. The condos are a little bit smaller. They do go for a little bit less than that. But basically, it's the best of downtown living in Alpharetta. You can walk to all the restaurants. You can walk to the city center in Alpharetta. You can walk to, exercise places like Pilates and fitness centers and so forth. And there's a fantastic dog park that just opened here in Alpharetta as well that you can walk to. And Mary Ellen, we're going to do a separate podcast on dog parks and so forth.
All about
in the near
dog
future.
parks. So
Yes. But anyway, this is easy living here in the Atley. The beautiful part of this community is the buildings are all brick. They do have some hardy on the back of them around the porch areas. They do have porches. They do have decks. The community is gated. It does have amenities include a swimming pool area, community gardens, access to the Alpha Loop. The Alpha Loop goes right through the center of the community, as a matter of fact. And from here, you can easily walk to Avalon. You can walk all the way to West Side Parkway and so forth on these gorgeous Alpha Loop walkways that were just finished in the spring of 2024. So, your HOA includes all of your landscaping, all of your lawn maintenance, and it means that you have more time to spend in your life doing the things that you really love rather than pulling weeds and so forth.
yeah.
So
And you know what I love? Let me just tell you what I love about it is there's really no excuse to walking and exercising if you live in that neighborhood.
Right.
Because literally you're in the neighborhood and you can go on all these trails and exercise.
Right.
So if you're really into that lifestyle of exercising and being fit, this is a community for you.
Right. And as far as sizes, the homes go from 1 bedroom to 4 bedrooms, and some of them have, 3 to 4 bathrooms as well. So
Nice.
they're very efficient in the way they're designed. 1 and 2 car garages. The townhouses all have 2-car garages, and just a lovely lifestyle. It really is.
Yes.
Love it. And it feeds into Milton High School, which also includes Northwestern Middle School and Manning Oaks Elementary School, all great schools.
Fantastic. So now that we talked about one of the really great areas that we love in Alpharetta, let's talk about design. Let's talk about 7 design lessons that everyone can learn from watching Fixer Upper, the lake house.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So the Fixer Upper show is done by Chip and Joanna Gaines.
Yes.
It is aired on the Magnolia Network, which is their network. And this particular series called The Lake House is a series of 6 episodes that Chip and Joanna filmed about their experience with renovating a home in Waco, Texas, which is where they're from. It was a 1965 home that was 5,100 square feet. It
That's
had
pretty big.
five bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, and it had been renovated previously in the 1980s. So the house itself was originally built as a mid-century modern Spanish revival fusion of styles.
Wow.
So it's just it also has a pool and a patio, but it also just has a lot of really unique features to it. And that's why it created this really interesting series of 6 shows done by Chip and Joanna Gaines. And so we just thought that if we talked about this show, it might inspire other people who are interested in flipping homes, renovating homes, or just even decorating their own home into picking up on some of these things that Chip and Joanna highlighted in this show. So the first topic that I want to cover is that about tile. Tile is not just for kitchens and bathrooms. It's not just for floors. It's also for multiple rooms throughout the house. So what Joanna did was she featured tile in very unexpected places in the home. And she used different styles, different colors, different shapes of tile. And they were used to define spaces and create unique elements, design elements in the home. So, for example, in the home's foyer, she did a floor-to-ceiling wall of green tile that added texture and color to that space.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Who would think to use tile on a wall? I mean, come on. Joanna, there you go. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't expect you walk into a house and you see tile on a wall, like when that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So I am designing and building a new house right now. A lot of people do know that about me. And I am using tile on walls in unexpected places, but I'm not quite as brave as Joanna. So I'm much more neutral.
I can't wait to see where those
in what I'm doing. But yes, I am
going to be.
Yes. So, I think you have to do it in a very tasteful way, but I think you can do it in unexpected places like foyers and mudrooms and laundry rooms and recreation rooms, for instance.
Yeah.
It can be unexpected and it can be gorgeous. It doesn't have to be garish. But anyway.
Well, I mean, I was just thinking like, okay, so you put tile down, who really likes tile is your dogs. The dogs animals love to be on the tile because it's so much cooler than carpet and everything else. So when I think of tile, I think of like nice, cool area for dogs to hang out. Yeah, I know that's random, just random. I thought I'd just add it. Why not? All right. Number 2, what's the second?
Number 2 is wood. So wood never goes out of style. Now, what does come and go are different wood tones. Now, in this particular series, because of the home and the original style of the home that Chip and Joanna were trying to tie into, she did use a lot of cherry wood. Now, here in Georgia, the trend right now for a lot of these modern farmhouses and so forth is to use white oak, not cherry. But in this particular case, it's a very interesting episode because in the foyer, there was a custom cherry wood staircase and a room divider. There's a custom cherry wood floating cabinet in the dining room. And in the recreation room, it was lined with cherry wood paneling and custom built-in benches. So when you're renovating, you don't have to necessarily rip all of that out, but you can update it and get those features to work with some of the fresher, newer features that you're adding to the home.
Except though, Sue, if you have that wood paneling from like the 1970s and 80s, remember that stuff?
Oh yeah.
Remember how trending that was? I think you'd have to take that off. I would just
either that or put a coat of paint over it.
Yeah.
At least put a coat of paint over it.
I don't know. I think you really have to tear it and put something else up there. But what we're also seeing trending too is a lot of like ceilings, like they're making those really cool wood ceilings. They're,
Mhm.
in certain spaces to make it look bigger or whatever they're doing. And I really do like that trend. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, there's some beautiful trends, especially in new home construction with gorgeous wood beams. And
Yeah.
some of these beams are like already distressed looking and come in different sizes and just have a certain chunkiness to them that really makes the room interesting. So
Yeah.
it's just something to consider. Number 3 on our list is it's okay to change your mind. So even with a professional like Joanna Gaines, she demonstrated that she chose a stain color for the wood floors and then decided she didn't like it.
Mhm.
And so in one scene, she's shown considering 7 different stain options, most of which she mentions she normally likes on floors. However, she ultimately decides that none of those are the correct stain for her particular home. So the team has to go back to square one on flooring. So what this shows is that even if you work with a professional designer, things aren't always perfect.
Right.
You
And I
know,
think you have to look at it too. Like you're not going to paint, like sometimes people will paint the whole room and then decide, sometimes paint a wall and then look at it at different times of the day where the lighting's coming in, whether you like it or not. And I think a lot of people will go all in, and it's okay to change your mind and redo it. Yes, it's going to
right.
cost you a little bit of money, except if you want it, if you're renovating, you might as well get it the way you want it and not have to redo it.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's funny how different colors do play off of each other. And I was just reading all these articles this past week on even white paint colors. So many of us are painting their walls white, but there are
Yeah.
so many different shades of white. And it's amazing. You can look at one shade of white and say, yeah, that's great, but put another shade next to it and suddenly the first one looks dingy or the first one looks too yellow. So you really need to try, the paint on the walls in the room with the correct flooring and so forth, because, things do change. If you have a north facing room versus, a south facing room, depending upon the lighting during a given part of the day, the colors are going to change.
Right. Okay. Well, changing your mind, we don't want to do that now, do we?
So number 4 on our list is merging your styles. So a lot of people don't really know what their style is. There's some tests out there that you can take to figure out your style, but it's okay if you merge styles together. So are you traditional, bohemian, coastal, cottage chic, modern, mid-century modern? What are you? Absolutely nobody is like all one thing or the other. Some people do trend to really liking, coastal. Some people really like mid-century modern and so forth. But I think my take on all of this with Joanna's episode is that as long as you create a home that's stunning and warm and inviting to you and that you feel comfortable in, that's your style.
Yeah. And I think, some people I don't even know if I have a style. So that would be interesting to take a test. So just Google find your style.
What's my style?
Find what's my style.
Yeah.
So that would be kind of a fun thing to do and see what kind of style you like. And it's interesting. And you can have different styles in different rooms, right?
Right.
Okay.
So number 5 on the list is to highlight architectural details. So many of us have beautiful staircases or beautiful fireplaces or even just views out our family room window that are of a lake or of a mountain or beautiful trees or landscaping. I think what you need to do is find, pieces of the home's original architecture. You don't necessarily have to ditch all of that, but you do need to make it look like it's up to date, and you do need to make it all work. But highlight those unique architectural details of a home and go with it. And then, turn some of those things into focal points, which we will touch on later.
Okay. So give me an example of an architectural, because some people might be like, Sue, I really don't know what you're talking about. So
Okay.
an example.
So spaces, architectural details could be touches like moldings or
Oh, okay.
arches or different staircases, like a floating staircase in a foyer can really be a really unique architectural detail.
Okay.
Fireplaces, like I mentioned before.
Okay, cool. I think some people get a little confused with that language in this,
Hmm.
if they're not in it like we are. So,
Hmm.
okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So, number 6 on the list is green as a modern neutral. So, if you watch the episode, you'll see that, Joanna took very specific, like very earthy looking tones because it is a lake house and she blended those together. But she also added in like some tranquil blues, some deep browns. But ultimately, the shining star of her color scheme was this warm olive green.
And I think that green is really coming back. All
Hmm.
different shades,
Hmm.
whether it's olive green or like a hunter green, or you're seeing a lot if you open up Architectural Digest or you open up any of those really cool magazines, you're going to see a lot of greens now.
Hmm. Hmm. I think, so many of the houses that we see have been done in very modern white and black. Like modern farmhouses are generally a lot of white and black. And some of that's been overdone over the
Yeah.
years. So I like to see where somebody like is a little bit brave and maybe blends all their blues together or goes out on a limb and picks a green. Green technically is a neutral color. It's if you look out your window, it's everywhere around you. It's the environment we live in. It's a neutral.
Yeah. No, I like that. Green is the new gray, maybe. I don't know.
Well, gray's kind of gone out of style,
I
I guess.
know it's
So,
the green's the new white. I don't know because it's like all trending and all different. So you know what? And I think that everyone has to understand. Do what you like.
right,
Even though it's trending, just do what you like because you're the one living there.
right,
So just, who cares what's trending? Just,
right,
be different. Do
right,
you. There you go.
right.
What's number 7 lesson that we learned from this?
Let the view do the talking. So this particular home was a lake house. If big windows, everybody loves big windows. They love the natural light that you get from big
Mm,
windows. If putting bigger windows in your house is really going to be transformative, do it. And a lot of these older homes that we see, the windows need to be replaced anyway because of broken seals and so forth. Homes really, your buyer's going to ask you to change that anyway. During the due diligence process, that will come up as a flaw in the home inspection.
mhm.
So go ahead and be proactive and put those windows in now and enjoy them. An extra foot of window on a wall can make a very big difference in the way the light comes in, the way you view the room, and so forth. So, you could want to make that view in the exterior, if you happen to have a beautiful lake or trees or something that you have a beautiful view of, make that your focal point in your room.
Good idea. That's a good tip. That's a
Hmm.
good tip. Anything else to add on lessons learned?
I mean, I just like people to feel comfortable in their space. And, don't be afraid of blending, tones within the same color. Like I say, blend your blues.
Yeah, that's good. So
Yeah.
whether this is for yourself, do it your own, hiring someone, flipping houses, gutting houses, there's just so much to learn every time you do something new. So
Hmm.
be open and try new things, right? That's
Right.
that's good. All
Yeah.
right. Well, thanks for that. That was great information. So let's go on to our next little segment about what we really love about North Atlanta. And what we really love about North Atlanta is something I love is sports. We have so many great sports teams. So let's start off about Braves baseball. So the Braves have a brand new, beautiful park called Truist Park, right? Down.
Yes.
Yeah, and then so it's not in downtown Atlanta.
Mhm.
It's off of 285, so it's good if you live in the suburbs. When we had to go to Braves game and it was down in Atlanta, it took forever. So at least the traffic's a little better, and it's really in a nice location.
It's
what
in
do you
Cobb
like about
County.
it? Yeah, it's in Cobb County.
Yeah.
So it's much closer than being in downtown Atlanta. So it's really a beautiful stadium. And what I would say about Truist Park is they really made it a place to go to, because
Right.
not only if you go to a game, you go there and there's restaurants and shops and just places to be. And
It's called the Battery.
yes,
What
which
it's
is called the
called.
Battery. Sorry, I
Right.
forgot that. But anyway, so the Battery. And so the Battery and Truist Park right next to each other. Parking's all around there. They have interesting parking at Truist Park than other stadiums that I'm used to, like in New York and stuff. But anyway, it's an interesting. I mean, you can definitely find parking. It's kind of scattered in different directions, so you kind of have to know where you're going when you go to a game. Other than that,
Wear
I
your
mean,
walking shoes.
yeah,
For
lots
sure.
of walking, lots of steps, but that's what we all need to be doing is steps anyway. But it's a great place to go see a game and also bring the whole family. Even if you're not going to the game, you can hang out in the Battery and just hear the excitement of what's going on in the stadium, I think, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's just such an invigorating environment. And, there's some hotels right there. Isn't one an
Yeah, there's
Aldi or
one
something?
actually, like
Yeah.
if you're facing, you can actually watch the game from.
Yeah, I would love to have one of those hotel rooms sometime and just like sit on the balcony of my hotel room and, watch the game from up there. But
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
it's just so much fun to go to a Braves game.
Yeah. Okay. So next we're going to talk about professional football. And we have our Falcons that we know and we love. And where do they play, Sue?
They play in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which is an awesome new stadium that was just built a few years ago when the Georgia Dome was torn down. And one of the things that, they really focused on with Mercedes-Benz is the food. Like even in Truist Park for the Braves, the food is really, really good. But in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, I think the food is really, really great. And it's just such a fun environment. It's a beautiful stadium. And I just love it. Just
Great,
love it.
great place to go on a Sunday afternoon in the fall, right? All right. So then we talk about basketball. So we got the Hawks.
The Hawks.
And the Hawks, the Hawks are the Hawks, right? Basketball, professional basketball. They play downtown. People love them. Great place, to go see a game.
The stadium that the Hawks, or the arena, I should say, that the Hawks play in is right next to what was the CNN Center, which is no more, unfortunately, but the building's still there. And it's right, just south of Centennial Park near the Gulch. And the Gulch is currently being redeveloped. So it'll be interesting to watch over the next few years how they incorporate that arena into all the activities and restaurants and shops that are going to be in the Gulch.
Okay, cool. So the next sport, I mean, we're just hitting all these sports, is soccer, which is in Europe, it's called football, but it's soccer here in the US. And we have our Atlanta United, and people are so excited about them playing. You know what I mean? Don't you think?
I'm not a soccer girl. I don't know anything about soccer.
But anyway, people love watching them. It's people cheer for them. It's great. It's a great thing. And I do want to touch on one more thing that possibly might be moving to Atlanta, which we used to have, but we don't have anymore, which is hockey. Okay, you're like, hockey in Atlanta? So there's a possibility in the future we might have a hockey team in the North Atlanta area, which is super exciting because I was brought up with the Rangers and the Islanders in New York. So I love hockey, especially in like the wintertime. It's kind of fun to watch. So that would be kind of exciting to have another sports team. So what we love about North Atlanta is all the sports, any kind of sports. And, we had the Olympics here in 1996. We just got off the whole Olympic thing. And that was exciting to see all the sports during the Olympic time too.
Right. One of the things I'd like to do in the area is go over and see the Gwinnett Braves play sometime.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a minor league game here?
I have not here, but in other places in Florida.
Right.
So that's kind of fun.
The cool thing about minor league games is that you get to sit a lot closer to the field. and you really feel like you're part of the action. You just have to be a little more aware of flying balls. That's all.
Yeah. So, like I said, if you're looking for any kind of professional sports in Atlanta, that's what you're going to see. And then you have to understand that the ACC and the SEC college football is huge here in the South.
Right.
So that's just another thing. You've got the dogs in Athens, which is about an hour and a half from the North Atlanta area. And it's all east. Just keep going east and you'll hit Athens, Georgia.
SEC football.
Yes, you have SEC football. And we also have ACC. We have Georgia Tech. And they have a good football team. Yeah, they have a good football team too. And, there's always lots of college excitement and, you can go to basketball games and other sports as well. So really you kind of have the world of professional and also of college in the Atlanta area.
Mm-hmm. You do.
So, all right.
And I'm going to add one more tip in here.
Sure.
For those of you that are familiar with Milton High School, the 2024 football team at Milton High School is something you really should watch. They've got some really amazing players that, did not graduate last year, so they're back this year. And they have some really top-notch football players that are, basically ranked nationally. So keep your eye on Milton High School football this year.
And I think that we also have to, if we start talking about high school, there's amazing high school football, basketball, lacrosse, golf, volleyball. I mean, every sport imaginable. So even if don't have kids that age, you can go to these games and they're so much fun. I mean, football is Friday night. We all know that, but you can reach out. You can look on any one of these websites of any of the schools, wherever you're close to, whether it's in Fulton, Forsyth, Cobb, Cherokee, whatever county, and you can go to like a really cool and support your local high school and support their sports as well. So that's really what we love about North Atlanta. We went from professional to college to high school. There you go. So, all right. So our next segment, which is Sue's favorite segment, I think, is the designer tip of the day. So what are we going to talk about today?
Well, we're going to talk about a couple things, but the first thing is talking about stocking up on essentials that you're going to need in a room before you choose your color palette.
Oh, tell me a little bit about that. That's interesting.
So rather than deciding up front, I want my room to be, blue, tan, and gray, or whatever color scheme you're going to go with, why don't you go out and pick out a few things that you absolutely love first and let that kind of dictate the color scheme that you're ultimately going to go with in a room. Several years ago, I was helping my daughter pick out some new furniture, and she went in with a total open mind, and we ended up coming out with this gorgeous teal sofa and a beautiful, beautiful floral chair that went with it. And then we designed the rest of the room around that color scheme.
Oh, okay. So maybe that like one big piece or something might dictate the rest of the room.
Right.
Okay.
So you usually, when you're designing, you start with your most expensive piece, whether it's a rug or a sofa or something like that. And then you play off of that and you go to your least expensive pieces when you're doing a design.
Where most people will say, I want blue on the wall, or I want white on the wall, or I want gray on the wall. So that's a good tip. I like that tip.
Don't pick your wall color first. Start with your most expensive piece and work from there.
Sounds good. Any other tips?
The second tip I want to talk about is multiple light sources. So you need to consider your natural light, which is coming in through your windows, doors, sliders, whatever you have. And then what you have, you need to layer light in different sources. And so ceiling light is one, lamps are another. And you need to have at least 3 different light fixtures in every single room, in my opinion, because the light does change throughout the day as light comes in through the windows. Maybe if you're east facing in the morning, in the afternoon, you're not going to have that sunlight anymore. So you need to make sure that you have plenty of ambiance in that room for different types of days, times of the day, and you need to be flexible and maybe add some dimmers at night to your lights. so that you have more subtle lighting later on in the day. And don't forget about lighting for shelving and things like that you might have in the room. It's really interesting to add, a strip of LED lighting if you tuck it up underneath. And some of that LED lighting, you can control it from your phone. You can change the colors of the lights throughout the day. You can dim it. It's just kind of a fun feature to put on your bookshelves and things like that.
Awesome. Awesome.
And then number 3, the last tip today is don't forget your focal points. We talked about this a little bit earlier when we talked about architectural details. Make sure you're not overwhelming a space, but you are focusing on that fireplace or that view. And, maybe you need to add just a pop of color somewhere. So add a gorgeous stair runner to your staircase. Or, focus on that backsplash in your kitchen, something that will draw the eye into the space and make the space feel cohesive and unified.
Fantastic. Well, those were some great tips. I always love your design tips of the day. So anyway, follow us on all our social media. We have a weekly newsletter for Milton and Alpharetta, which gives you all the community, what's going on in the community. Feel free to let us know if you want to reach out to that. We're always here to help. We're always here to educate. And if there's some kind of topic you want us to talk about, we'd be happy to do that. So have a great day from Mary Ellen Van Auken and Susan Jennings. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.